daughter in the face with some kind of an object. The daughter claimed it was an axe. The woman said it was a piece of iron, but it was never recovered, so nobody really knows what it was.
Did you see the daughter?
Yeah.
How did she look?
Looked like an axe to me. She was split right down the middle of her nose.
You look at the average policeman, and he comes from the lower middle class or upper lower class, and suddenly he's going to become a policeman. He wants security, he wants a nice paying job, he wants to work out of doors, he wants to help people. He is going to don this uniform, and he is going to go out into the streets of our city, and he is going to help people. And that is the psychology. And he goes to the police academy, and he is told that he's going to be helping people, and he is taught how to help people. He's going to be preserving the fabric of our society, preserving life and property, maintaining the peace, and doing all noble purposes. And then he gets out there, and he suddenly discovers that he's regulating human behavior, that he is bitterly resented, and he's shocked. Police officer's reaction to this is absolute shock, that a citizen, and I mean the citizen generically, should resent his presence, and he does, and it is resented, and it is resented rightly. We all bridle at control. The policeman has great difficulty assimilating this knowledge. He becomes a bit cynical, he becomes a bit hardened. He cannot permit every emotional contact to drain him. He has to have emotions for his life and for his family. So like the prostitute that cannot afford to become emotionally, romantically involved with every client, the policeman cannot afford to become emotionally or romantically involved with every client. And the result is that he develops calluses over his emotions. As a matter of fact, that hardness and that cynicism permits him to cope with what he encounters. I think that if you maintain the involvement of the philosopher in the ghetto and a policeman, I think he'd disintegrate after a very little while.
Do you think that there are degrees to which policemen become hardened that perhaps go over into another area where they begin to have negative...
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is reflected in names like Fort Apache. Here we are surrounded by a bunch of hostiles. We are an island of heroes and a sea of hostility. It is us and them. They're all a bunch of animals out there. The insularity grows, the parochialism grows, and they become an island. So we have the outside world and we have the police world, and we experience our reality, and the real world experiences its reality, and it is terribly difficult for any citizen to understand the complexities involved in police work. The policeman fundamentally has a ringside seat on the greatest show on earth. One of the beautiful things about being a policeman is that you're at the center of action all the time. You are seeing people, sometimes even famous people, in the most incredible circumstances. You're in on every secret of society, in a sense. And that's very exciting. The public doesn't understand everything that you see. You cannot even explain it. Most policemen have a tighter relationship with their partners than they do with their wives, which is a whole different situation. So the insularity grows, the secretiveness grows, the parochialism grows. Society doesn't understand the policeman's role. The policeman is shocked to discover that society doesn't appreciate him sufficiently, and they are driven apart. And this really creates a kind of ineluctable drift that I don't know how to combat.
The newspapers aren't going to print the truths. They're not going to print the actual type of crimes that are going out here. Come running out for a day to film a day in the life of a cop or a day in the life of a high crime precinct. Bullshit. That's all it is. Total bullshit. You can't do it because it's just like a flowing river and all the garbage is coming down through it. And you just can't do it in a day or in 2 days. You have to come out here and sit around and then the cops are told, you don't talk to anybody, you don't say nothing to anybody, you got to keep everything quiet. Baloney, you can't do that. You got to get out there and you got to speak and you got to say, this is what's going down, and this is what happens when you go to court. And this is how ridiculous it looks when you get out of court. You come walking back and here's a guy you just arrested for robbery standing on the corner, and the judges let him out.
But you can't classify us as soldiers, or as you say, mercenaries, because we're getting paid for what we do. Because again, we're not out there fighting anything other than crime. A soldier and a mercenary doesn't try to protect anybody but themselves. And they fight for X number of feet or yards of ground. All we're trying to do is keep society safe from the animals that are out here.
Well, let's put it this way. They can intimidate some policemen out here, okay?
And they do, correct?
And they most certainly do. They most certainly do. But then again, if they come up against me and my partner and they start any of that crap, I would think nothing of knocking them right on their back. You know, and everybody thinks, and they always come out with these statements, you know, about how the cops like to kick ass and haul ass and everything like that. As sad as it may seem, there's people out here who need their ass kicked to haul them back in the line.
It's not a popularity contest out here. I'm not out here to have everybody love me. This is why I said before, it's not a job everybody can do.
Who has the gun?
A guy named Chinito. He lives right in the building there.
Yeah. And where is your husband?
He was right over there.